This is Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. Mr. Frank Warren in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Nice to be joined with you again. How's things?
I'm all right, Mr. Charlie. How are you?
Good. Always like having a little catch up. A very routine and regular thing now in this boxing world.
It is. It's become very routine, but let's not try and make it too mundane.
I'm a little bit disappointed.
What's that?
I'm a Southampton fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And I just thought
Nobody's perfect.
I thought there was a hope.
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't go because I wasn't too good, but I watched it and I thought they were quite, they played quite.
I think we got a bit too excited when the goal went in. We thought we could then play.
Yeah. But, you know, they come to play and you know, maybe a season, 2 seasons ago, it's something you may have won, being one up, but they're showing a bit more grit now.
Can we stay up?
Yeah, I think they can. I hope they do.
I think you're the first person who said that to me, so now I've even got a bit more of a softer spot for
I do hope they do. And, you know, they've had some great young players, haven't they, at their academy that have played over the years. Yeah. Anyway.
Not what it once was. We're here in the Kingdom, another magnificent fight week. Artur Beterbiev against Dmitry Bivol. What a star-studded lineup, but on the main event itself, fair to say that if it wasn't for His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, maybe we wouldn't have this fight. And 2 elite fighters. Adeola Depot put up a Twitter poll, and after 24 hours of voting, it finished 50-50. That just says it all about this fight.
Because it's that type of fight. I mean, they're 2 quality operators, 4 belts on the line. I mean, it's probably the best unification fight out there at the moment. There's no doubt about that. One's got the most perfect record, 20 fights, 20 KOs, and the other one's undefeated, and he's a master. Yeah, exactly. You just said it, master boxer. And both of them have beaten Brits on their way. So, you know, people certainly in the UK know they are. I think it's gone from being like a trade fight now to people actually buying into what this is, how important this fight is. And I think the winner of this will come through and will become in his own right a bit of a star, as Usyk has done.
It's funny you say that, because I know that a lot of the process with everything in Riyadh season, and certainly in boxing, is to get that young demographic back into the sport, almost a little bit like UFC, and we've certainly got it, but to develop it a little bit more. And it's nice, you know, I'll go down to the pub with my mates and they're actually talking about this fight on Saturday night. Yeah. I'll be scrolling through videos, they're liking videos of Beterbiev and Bivol. It is capturing the imagination of casuals as well.
It is, and it has. It's you know, it's a cracking fight. I mean, it's a really, really good quality fight, no doubt about it. And it is 50-50. I mean, I favour Beterbiev, but having said that, you know, I can see why people would go the other way. You know, he's as I say, got the perfect record, big puncher, but he's had a few injuries, and I don't know what effect that had on him. And you know, there's an old adage in boxing. You know, it's not about who's the biggest puncher. If it's who was the biggest puncher, you wouldn't need judges.
Do you find Beterbiev arrogant? I had this conversation with Eddie.
I'm all right with him. I mean, I know a lot of people have said. I bet a couple of people said that to me today. But
I don't
maybe it's fight week. Maybe he's just, you know.
You know, I've done interviews with him before and tried to ask him about boxing as such, and he's never seemed particularly interested. But one of the first things he ever said to me was that he's genuinely, these flies are annoying, aren't they? Yeah. That he's genuinely not a boxing fan. Now, he's not a big speaker. We've never seen him be a big speaker. I know Eddie said that, you know, if you get flown over, you've got to say a bit more than one-word answers. But I think that's just a little bit like who he is. Do you?
No, I agree with that. You know, people are getting paid. We're in the business of selling fights, and that's what pays your purses. And you've got to engage and be available. You know, it's only a short period of time, but you know, some fighters, you know, not everybody's the same. Some guys don't even want to talk to the media, but they have to do it. It's part of your job. It's part of the job.
Chris Eubank Jr. is rolling around in a Rolls Royce this week. What are your thoughts of him on this card? I know Eddie's
my thoughts of him, I'd love to see him with Hamza on this card. That's what my thoughts are. But he's not.
I know we're a little bit on and detached from the whole press conference debacle and everything, and everything's been settled as such, but
it's nice. Where do you got it settled? It's not settled at all.
Okay.
It's not settled. Not at all.
Okay. Right, that was first I knew, to be fair.
There you know. It's the second, you know now.
Is it annoying when we see some of these cards and with the elite level fights and then we see an opponent?
I see his dad do all the same stuff, you know. It's the same thing his dad done many years ago. And that's what they get off on, and that's what they want to do, and toys and boys for toys and toys for boys, all that sort of stuff. You know, at the end of the day, boxing is a very dangerous sport. Every fighter who gets in the ring is entitled to what he gets from it, and more importantly, they've got to think about the future when it all ends.
Just lastly, on Eubank Jr. himself, I watched an interview that Charlotte did from the Mail, talking about, well, he was speaking about his father and the absence of that relationship as such. He said that he was, you know, he needed a father figure and not a trainer as such. I know throughout his career he's never really had a trainer. What do you make of those sort of comments?
I've got to be honest, I don't pay a lot of attention. I've given my opinion of him, you know. He builds himself as the next generation, and he's 35 years of age. And, you know, he had an opportunity to fight in a major fight to find out, you know, to me, how good he is against Hamza or Denzel Bentley. Both really good fights. We'll see.
Well, you mentioned on the topic.
He's not that. His dad had been retired for 3 years by now. At his age.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. And he'd had 20 world title fights.
Yeah. Is it a bit of a what if with his career?
Not for me, it's not.
True.
It's who gives a fuck?
I suppose on your man, mandated to fight Janibek.
Yep.
They gave a 10-day limit for the purse bids. Do we expect to see that next?
We'll see what happens. I haven't spoken to Hamza yet, so we'll speak to him and the team and see where we go with it.
We know that the Denzel Bentley fight was also ordered, I suppose, but if there's an opportunity for world titles, you probably prioritise
We'll see what happens. You know, at the end of the day, they're really, you know, there's lots of options, and we will see. We will see. You
know what baffles me about boxing fans? I was having this conversation earlier on. We see the Usyk-Fury 2 undercard's been announced. I instantly put out a tweet. I think it's brilliant. There's some great matchups in there. Dennis McCann against Pete McGrail. We see Johnny Fisher in against Dave Allen. The co-main event, actually, Bahanchik against Madrimov, is an elite level fight. Great for the Eastern European and sort of Middle Asian audience. We still have people criticising.
Look, you're not going to stop that. They criticise Wembley, that there was a couple of empty seats which were down to sight lines. I mean, there's people do that. There's nothing. What are you going to do about it? It's a fantastic main event. Let's start with the main event. Was it a good fight? Great heavyweight fight. The heavyweight fight of the century. That's what it was. You know, 2 undefeated fighters, and it's a rematch. So no one can complain about that because it was a split decision. And irrespective whether you like me or you like Tyson or you like Usyk, the facts are a lot of people thought Tyson won it, and a lot of people thought Usyk won it, and a lot of people give it a draw. Independent people, certainly a lot of Americans. And it's on again, so that's going to be a great fight. And the undercard, all those fights are competitive fights, called for purse bid fights, competitive fights. So what can you moan about?
The sport is in a phenomenal place.
It's flying. It's never been in such a healthy state. Big fights being made. But that's what you do, and that's the world that we live in, and the world of the trolls and you know, whatever. But it's really simple. You don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah, I know.
Don't watch it. Also, no one gets your arm and puts it up your back and say you've got to watch it, do they?
But also,
so
they all will
don't watch it if you don't watch it.
And they all will watch it. And someone put out a tweet. They replied to my tweet. And it was the Wilder Fury 2 undercard, which was decent undercard. And if you compare this card on the 21st to the Wilder Fury 2 undercard, it shows how far the sport's come, right?
Correct. It's a fabulous undercard. And there's a few fights in there in their own right would be main events in the UK, no doubt about it. And that Madrimov's fight? That's a cracker.
That's a great fight.
That's a really good competitive fight. I mean, let's get it right. A few people thought he beat Crawford. So how can you moan about that?
And behind
planet is
a lot of
everybody?
people thought he beat Virgil Ortiz
Yeah,
as well.
exactly right. So what's there to moan about? Come on.
I like with His Excellency, if he sees a valiant performance for a challenger, give him another opportunity, and that's apparent in both of those people. They've managed to land a co-main event.
Correct.
Yeah. Fury's not changing his corner for the rematch.
That's his choice.
Do you have a...
No.
No?
I'm confident in Tyson. I'm confident in everybody, how they see what happened last time, and I'm confident that they will do what's necessary to come through and prevail.
Tyson's come out and said even if he loses 20 times over, Anthony Joshua loses 20 times over, they see that fight. We'll see that fight before they retire. Am I right in saying it's not the same if Anthony Joshua was to lose again by knockout to your man Daniel?
I don't know, because we keep writing people off, and I'm being guilty of it, and people come back. You know, everybody wrote Daniel Dubois off.
Joseph Parker was a written off man.
Yeah, and they come back.
Yeah. Your man Moses, now that is a step up and a half.
Teenager stepping up to the guy who only lost one fight, and that fight he went 12 rounds with.
Final eliminator with Philip Pergovic.
Yeah, a final eliminator. So nobody can complain about that. This is a tough fight for him. And Hergovic, you know, you see the tough fight he gave Daniel, those early rounds with Daniel. I mean, he was catching him he's a good boxer, and he's a man, and he's smart. He's not a young kid. He's got a lot of ring craft. So, you know, for him to do the 12 rounds with him like he did, it's going to be interesting against Moses. I'm looking forward to it.
How soon is Moses away from challenging for a world title?
Let's see how he gets on in this fight. You can start gauging it then, can't you?
I suppose he could really, if he wins this, he's 2 away really, right?
Excuse me. Yeah, you can gauge it. Let's look and see how he comes through.
Ben Shalom and Boxer have announced Anthony Yard on their card next week. Now, I said to Eddie, I know different situations, but obviously amicably you signed Chantel Cameron off the back of the split. I said, did you ever look at signing Anthony Yard? He said, no, that their contractual situation, the contractual situation with Anthony Yard, they perceive him not to be a free agent. Obviously,
he wasn't
different
a free
on
agent.
this side.
He wasn't. He had a contractual commitment to us, and it was finally sorted out a couple of weeks ago, provided they stick to what they said is happening. So we'll see.
So everything okay as for now?
At this moment in time.
For him on that card next week. Okay. Just lastly, Caballero versus Bacoli has been ordered. Yeah. Great fight. I take it's going to land on one of these. Is it?
I don't know where it's going to go. We'll see what happens.
Who wins a fight like that?
I like Caballero.
2 bogeymen.
I don't think I like Caballero. I think he's done extremely well. He's a good fighter. He's a very, very good fighter. I don't underestimate him in any shape or form.
Just lastly from me, do you expect Anthony Joshua's next fight and Daniel Dubois' next fight to be the rematch?
Don't know. We'll find out.